Guys, we got some big news. Our friends over at Manscaped are introducing the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. This features a new cutting-edge design and next-generation dual skin-safe blade heads for different shaves that will take your shaving game to the next level. Join the 9 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped and get yourself a Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra at manscaped.com. For 20% off plus free shipping, just use the code Chael. I got to be one of the first to use the new Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra, and I gotta tell you, it's a game changer. This trimmer features two interchangeable skin-safe blade heads, a standard trimmer blade for a routine trim, and a new foil blade, which is gonna help you to get a smooth finish. The Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra comes with a travel case. It's waterproof so you can take it in the shower, and it features dual LED spotlights. What more could you need? Get 20% off plus free shipping when you go to manscaped.com. Just use the code Chael. It's high-tech for low places. Go Ultra with Manscaped. There's footage that I just saw. It's Arman, last name too hard to pronounce, and Bobby Green. And they're in the hotel. Bobby Green is sitting down. Appears that he's on his telephone. Arman is walking. And Arman has his team. Is that what they are? Friends, a group with him. So they get to Bobby, and Arman says to him, I hear you're talking SHI asterisks about me. So Bobby stands up, and now they're face to face. And just from that visual, Bobby is outnumbered. Right? I mean, I don't love these things. They really bother me for a number of reasons. And I'm not a prude against things like that. And I always stop and I always watch them. They always make some kind of a headline. So I realize my hypocrisy, but I do not like them. There's a crime, for one. Now, let's move that aside. There's just an attitude above it all that is beneath the privileged license of an unarmed combatant. It's just beneath it. So, first off, I've never really loved that term, and I've never learned the concept behind the term. I hear you're talking SHI asterisks about me. I never got that. I even remember how old I was the first time I heard it, because it was just a gross thing to say, and I heard it about a girl. Oh, this person's talking, and they use this gross word. And what do you mean? They're talking badly? They're talking trash? I needed a little more. At the time, I wasn't even familiar with the phrase, and now it's just a common term. Like, what is it that you've done that would put you in some kind of a universe where I wasn't allowed to do that? Because there are things that I'm not allowed to do, for sure. Such as come up and touch you. Such as come up and approach you when you're on your phone minding your own business. Such as come up in a threatening manner when I got 5 buddies with you. Like, there's things that I can't do. But where would you ever get the impression that talking SHI asterisks about you would be one of those things? And when I tell you these things bother me, it's from a perspective that a person has got to be able to speak, or we don't have a business here. Right? When you talk about martial arts, you're talking about expression. It's specifically what the arts are. You won't do a painting and you're looking at it for the color. You're not looking at it to see how well they paint it. It's about the expression, and it's about the meaning. It's literally what separates the humans from the animals. It is why they are the top of the food chain. They are able to communicate. And I just bring that to you because there's no better form of communication than speaking. So this idea that there's something I'm not allowed to say as it pertains to your skills, or what would happen if we put your skills against mine. Like the idea that somewhere I don't have the right to do that. It's just a very bizarre notion. And so let's say that you're against me. A person shouldn't do that. A person should show respect. I hear that word all the time. I mean, that is such a street gang member term to justify uneducated, illegal behavior. I was getting my respect, or he disrespected me. You will never hear that by somebody who is just above literate. And so when you hear these professionals, it bothers me because let's say you take the side against me where, hey, a person shouldn't say that. A person should be respectful. Let's just say that you do that. You would stop. You would stop so much, right? There would be no reason to have a press conference. There would be no reason. If words aren't a meaningful part of this sport, and if going back and building tension and having attention, respecting and or disrespecting. So, what do? I mean, what do you do? Like I don't wish something bad for Arm here. I don't. Got a main event coming up. He's cutting weight. He's a little bit stressed. I also don't know what his point was. I don't know that his point was to come up and build a promo. That I don't believe. The cameras weren't around. It turned out somebody had an iPhone behind him, but I don't believe that was the point. And I don't have enough information to decide that he wanted to accost Bobby Green. Perhaps he was asking the question, hey, here you're talking about me. Maybe he wanted to know where that came from. Or maybe he wanted to apologize to Bobby. Hey, I heard you said this because you think that, and I just want to let you know I didn't. I think you're a great guy. Like, I mean, I don't have enough information to deem that he's a bad guy. But I do have enough information that if you're holding yourself to a degree that you've earned the right for people to not talk, but you hold yourself to this degree, but you don't follow the code, that you don't go 5-on-1 against somebody, right? You don't have the same code. You lose a lot of the power that you were attempting to have. Josh Barnett had earned the right to have nobody speak about him. And he was spoken about by a gangster who had just been released from prison, who was very big and very scary. And Josh walked up to that person because he heard what they were saying, and it was filmed, and it did turn into a hype piece, but at no point did you ever at all feel that Josh was going to touch him. Like there was no part of that. And Josh did speak his mind, and he never used profanity, and he never raised his tone. But he did speak his mind. That you say those things, I'm sure it was to get to me and to bother me. It did get to me, and it did bother me. I don't know you well enough to know if you are serious or not, but I'm going to assume that you are. So we together will go to the matchmaker, and we will get you what I assume that you want, which is a fight against me. Now, I just changed the words completely. That's not what Josh said, but it was 100% what his message was. And it was done like a professional. Oh, and by the way, when Josh left that situation, that person never spoke about him again. Person respected it. Josh showed up to get respect. Most people show up to get respect. They leave with the opposite. And the visual of Arm going up to Bobby, I mean, it's just one of these spots. I heard you're talking about me. I'm so curious what the point is there. I have no choice but to assume that he didn't like that and he wanted that to stop. And every time I see one of these videos, every single time I see one of these videos, with one exception, which is the Josh Barnett exception, where Josh actually got the result that he wanted. Josh is the only one to do this and win, which just means he got what he wanted, which is he got the guy to not talk about him. He got the guy's respect. Every other one has the same element, which is the person who feels wronged approaches the other person. And whether they saw them for 5 minutes and planned it or they saw them for 0.5 of a second, they still had an upper hand advantage of knowing what was about to happen because they're the ones that were executing it. So they're now catching somebody off guard every single time, and every single time they have the numbers on their side. Right? Like we're having a very different conversation. If Arm and his team, his 5 guy, they're over here, and Bobby walks up to them, we're having a totally different conversation. Person holding the camera could be the same person. The person that uploaded it and got this information out to the world could be the same person. Everything can be the same if one guy walked up to 5, but it never, ever goes that way. And I must tell you, it bothers me. There's something about that is unbecoming of being a professional. Professional in no profession is meant to just mean that you're paid for your goods or services. It's also meant to, it's a level of something else. And it could have turned into a great moment. Arm got a little close. I can't defend him on that. He got right up to Bobby. He did it in an aggressive manner. Bobby stood up. He had to. But now you have a problem. I mean, there's you never let them within arm's reach. As soon as they get in arm's reach, you have a problem. But Bobby's going to have a hard time creating the separation that's needed when he's trying to de-escalate a situation. Different languages. Got enough English here to get this communication done. But you're outnumbered 5-1. It's one of these really tough spots, and I just wish that Arm had not touched him. I wouldn't say the same if it was Bobby. Bobby should follow the rule of stay back, don't get within arm's reach. Say what you have to say from there, I say from here. As soon as you come within, it's now begun. Bobby would have had the right, but he still didn't do it. It would be a different story. The guy that knew, the guy that saw, the guy that had the higher ground, one standing, one sitting, the guy that had the 5 guys with him is the guy that ultimately broke and did the touching. And I won't go further than that with Arm. Right? This is very small. This isn't some huge deal and we all have to hate him or pick on him or fine him or suspend him or do anything else. I just want to speak to the characteristics so that it does stop right there. That's not a cool thing to do. And if you see somebody else doing it, you think, oh man, this is the way to go. It's not. That doesn't look cool. There's no part of that looked brave or like you confronted a guy talked about you and you went up and you confronted. There's not. And there never has been when it's 5 against 1. Keep that in mind.